Shemai, Asitachi, Croeso, Chris, Doi, what is cracking? Well, everyone, who is anyone? Today we're talking about The Legend of Zagor, which is book number 20 in the Wizards series of Fighting Fantasy. This video isn't going up on the Thursday it was meant to. Reason being, my hard drive died. It is something that I just didn't know hard drives could do, so it caught me off guard. But yeah, so this video is probably going to go up a bit earlier than Thursday. The next video is going to go up. So yeah, just so you guys know, I'm not slacking, it's just technicalities. So let's get back into the video. So this book was published back in '93 by Puffin and then 2004 by Wizards. There isn't a Scholastic version because I don't really know what Scholastic have done. I think they've just sort of given up, but it is what it is. So this book, unlike the previous books, it takes place in a different world. You are playing in the kingdom of Amarillia, which is a horrible name. It sounds exactly like Amarillo. Is this the way to Amarillo? Every night I've been hugging my pillow. But no, you're not playing in the world of Titan. So this is like sort of like a different world. It feels like a grittier world. It's a nicer world. Is it a nicer world? Probably not to live in. I find it quite interesting though. It is quite an interesting world. But apart from that, you know, what else is there? Well, you do actually have to pick from 4 separate characters to play as. Now, on the Puffin cover, these 4 characters are on the front cover. Like, there's like a dwarf, a wizard, and then like 2 humans, basically. It's interesting. It might not be up your alley though if you like making your own characters up. If you like playing as yourself, you know, it is what it is. But I did mention the Puffin cover, so let's actually look at them. So without further ado, we've got the old Puffin cover, and the Puffin cover, unfortunately, is actually quite ugly. I don't really like it. Straight off the bat, it's just blue. It's got Legend of Zagor. It's got a picture of Zagor. It's got a picture of a bridge, and presumably what looks like a Chaos Warrior, something like that. It's quite an ugly. It's quite a horrible cover, isn't it? It's very retro. If you're into retro kind of stuff, it will be up your alley. And then obviously you got Zagor, who is now a demon. He is now a demon, but he looks like a vampire, which it is pretty cool. So we've looked at the Puffin cover very briefly. Let's have a peep at the Wizards cover, and with the Wizards cover it does look a lot better. Zagor looks more like a demon, he looks more like a devil, he's got black gums, he looks scary, and the cover just generally, it just blows it out the water. It's a really good cover. It looks a bit like a Yu-Gi-Oh card. I can't remember. If you like Yu-Gi-Oh, you're probably going to go, oh yeah, I know which one. Actually, I don't know, there's so many Yu-Gi-Oh cards. Yeah, I can't remember which one it looks like, but you know, it's a really cool cover when it comes down to the Wizards version. And that's the thing, ladies and gents, if I had to put these in order, Wizards gonna reign supreme. It's Wizards first, Puffin second. There we are. We've talked about the covers, let's talk about the story. If we want to talk about the story, well, the back of the book really summarizes it quite well. It says, Zagor, the very name of the warlock of Firetop Mountain, strikes terror into all who hear it. Banished from the world of Titan, the sorcerer is slowly but surely regaining his strength. Within Castle Argent, in the kingdom of Amarillia, Zagor has been transformed into a demon. Such is his power, he must be destroyed. There are several adventurers willing to volunteer. Mighty Anvar, the barbarian, the warrior Braxus, Stubble the dwarf, Salazar the wizard. But only one will be chosen. Are you that hero? So that summarizes the story quite well, to be honest. That is basically the premise. Zagor has now sort of infiltrated this new world. He's being restored as a demonic power. He's a demonic entity. He's present on both covers. You know, he looks scarier in the Wizards cover, but you see what he is. He is the big bad guy. You need to just wipe this guy out. He needs to be put down, basically. He's causing nothing but problems. It's time to euthanize the guy. And that's really the story. That is really the story. That's what you do in the book. That's your goal, your objective is to euthanize Zagor once and for all. Now, I did actually quite enjoy the story. It was quite fun. It felt like the adventure actually felt like there's high stakes. You know, if you messed up, yeah, you could realistically play as the other 3, but if you messed up, Zagor might actually take over the world. It's quite dark, it's quite gritty. In my honest opinion, it felt a lot like Dark Souls in the sense that the world was a lot darker. You're fighting against zombies, skeletons and orcs rather than funny little goblins, dwarves, whatever. giants and pterodactyls. It is quite a dark setting. It is quite nice, to be honest. The story is quite nice. The only downside is that the adventure itself contains a lot of backtracking. You'll literally stand in like one hallway, you'll go one direction, have a look at one room, come back to that hallway, go another room, come back to the hallway. It just seems like you're circling back a lot, and as a result the adventure felt a lot longer than it should have. In my personal opinion, it missed that sweet spot entirely. And that's the thing, you know, when it comes down to these books, you're going to have your own personal tastes. For me personally, City of Thieves was probably my favourite book. But there wasn't a whole lot of fighting in there. It wasn't a long adventure. Whereas this one, there's a lot of fighting. A lot of the fights are quite difficult as well. Now, for me personally, I'd like to cheat. But even when I'm like instantly winning these fights, because I'm not rolling dice, I'm looking at them and I'm thinking that is actually pretty tough. There are going to be a lot of encounters where you just lose because you haven't got enough stamina to keep up. And I don't know how I feel about that. You might like it. I don't know, I think that would be quite annoying. As somebody who plays, or has played a lot of like roleplay games on like console, whatever, it's something that normally annoys me when it happens to me in a game. So yeah, that happens. But like I said, you know, there's a lot of circling back. The adventure's quite long as a result. It felt a bit tedious. It felt like it was a bit long-winded, and by the end of it, I was just happy to put it down. I was happy to put the book down. You know, in hindsight, the adventure was quite cool. The setting was quite cool, the enemies were quite cool, but actually playing it was a bit of a chore. I ended up having to use a guide just because I thought, well, this will make it quicker, and no, it didn't make it much quicker at all. The adventure is still very, very long, and if you're playing without a guide, you're in for one hell of a slog, and you might have to split it up into 2 to 3 sit-ins, so that's cool. How about the 4 separate characters though? Do they affect gameplay? And they do, to be fair. You got Salazar the Wizard, he cannot wear chainmail. You've got Anavar and Braxus, who they have like a fun little a way of infiltrating this base in the story. They get like a nice little gameplay mechanic. It's quite fun, I enjoyed it. And then you have Stubbs the Dwarf, or Stubble the Dwarf. Who's Stubbs? Stubbs, I think, was that guy from, oh, what was it called? It was the first one I did. Caverns of the Snow Witch, who's the dwarf. And him being a dwarf, because he's a lot shorter, there's a part where you walk through like a tunnel and you get attacked, but because obviously he's quite short, he's literally just like crouching, whereas everyone else is on their hands and knees. It's quite funny, it's quite cool. It's like at the end of the day, you're not going to get punished for picking one particular character over another, and none of them feel like noticeably overpowered. None of them felt as if, unless you play as that character, you're gonna have a worse time. You generally speaking, you're gonna have a fun time regardless. And if you cheat anyway, you can play as whoever. You can just jump from character to character, depending on how you personally feel, which I think might be a better way to play, because in the modern day of I suppose roleplay games, you know, you can be a mage. Say on Skyrim, you could be a mage, but you can also be a warrior. You know, it comes down to you personally. You know, I think most people end up becoming stealth archers because it's just the most logical way to play. But you know, that's a debate for a different video. So yeah, that is basically the story. You've got 4 separate characters. You've really got one heck of a slog for a journey. The final fight is actually pretty cool. You fight Zagor, who's now a demon. He has cards. It is pretty cool. I enjoyed the final fight. But then there is you have to get rid of the body in a way so he can't regenerate, and then you're literally on a time frame. And that was a bit, you know, it was a bit I didn't really enjoy that. I don't really enjoy pressure in these books because it's like nothing stopped me from cheating. I'm already cheating. I came into this expecting to cheat, and now you're expecting me to play by rules. But the time thing is good. You need to get there in a certain time, by a certain time, within a certain time frame. How did I botch it up 3 times? Who knows? And then, you know, once you've done it, you save the day, and you are the best. So, in summary, did I like the book? And I'm sort of in the middle. You know, I didn't hate it, but I didn't love it. You know, it's one of those books where I definitely wouldn't go back and reread it because of just how long and annoying and tedious it was. But I did enjoy the setting, the themes, and the characters. It's sort of like, you know, in retrospect, it's quite nice to think about. Actually playing the book is it's frustrating. It's not very fun at all. And this is the thing, you know, if you had to pick a book that you wanted to buy and you had like a list, I'd say you can skip this one. This is a safe pass. You're fighting Zagor for the 3rd time. Not much has changed. He's a demon now. Great, cool. He was undead last. He was just some guy living his best life in the first book. You kill him once, you kill him twice, you have to do it a third time. It's getting old now. You know, if it wasn't for the fact that I don't think fighting fantasy books are being thought up anymore, you'd probably have to fight him a fourth time and it'd be a bit of a meme. But it's not a meme that's funny, it's a meme that's sort of dragging on a bit. It's a forced meme, and everyone's aware of it. So I suppose the cherry on the cake is that I'm kind of sick of Zagor. I don't really want to find him in another book. You know, the first time was cool, second time tolerable, third time was just to turn me completely off. On top of that, you know, although I did enjoy the setting and the environment and the monsters, the adventure was a bit too long, a bit too dry. You know, it needed to be streamlined, and as a result, you know, it went on, it was a bit of a slog, and I didn't really enjoy it. You know, although the setting is cool, it just becomes increasingly more bland the longer you have to stay there, because you need to explore 4 more corridors before you progress. It's quite boring, it's quite, you're very much aware of the fact that you're going to have to be doing this for the rest of the story, and it kind of sucks as a result, you know? I gave this one 3 out of 5s on Goodreads, and in all honesty, I think that's a fair score, maybe a bit too generous. Although the book has a lot of promise, it just sort of squanders it by trying to be too in-depth, trying to be too long. I don't need a saga when you've got, especially when you got the sorcery books, and the sorcery books are just a lot better than this one book in general, you know? It's not really a case of, oh, we're gonna give you a massive adventure. It's a case of, you're making me go through this tedious process of exploring every single avenue before moving on, and I'm well aware of the fact that this is gonna be the story, and it is the story, and it's really boring. So yeah, that's about it for the video, guys. Feel free to comment, like, and subscribe. You know, this video is a lot shorter because I didn't like how a lot of the other videos were turning into video essays. I just wanted to kind of streamline these so that you're not just sat there waiting forever for the video to end. And I think I did pretty good this time. So yeah, thanks for watching, guys. Hopefully you'll be here for the next upload. So yeah, see you then. Take care. Ta-ra.